Okay, let me call upon on our next speaker for the day. So I would like to call upon here Mr. Kartik Radia, CEO, Baker Tele Business Advisory and Consulting Service. I would like to also add here, he is our gift partner. So basically, he has given the gifts in his personal capacity. So thanks for that, Kartik. Kartik, please join us. I would like to call upon Mr. Ajay Vernekar, CIO SBI Life here on the stage, please. Please welcome Kartik. As a co-founder and a managing partner of Baker Tele Business Advisory Services firm in India, he is responsible for developing, managing, and growing business advisory services comprising of business advisory and consulting. They are the first generation firm led by group of 21st generation entrepreneurs partners that has been founded in 2019. And he is totally full service consulting firm that is present pan India. So let's welcome Mr. Kartik on the desk.
Thank you. So thank you very much for the kind introduction. I think the session that we have today is about the cyber threats and defense of very unique business opportunity. So, as all of these sayings by some of the very famous business gurus, all of these saying goes in every risk or in every threat or in every vulnerability or in every crisis, there lies an opportunity, there lies an equal possible advantage, and it's upon us as business leaders to take advantage of that threat or vulnerability. So that also equally holds good for all the kinds of cyber threats that are existing today. One way to look at it is that these are massive threats that can take down your businesses. But the other way to look at it is these are the threats that have led the creation of modern businesses. And you take the example of any businesses that have come up in last decade or two, particularly. And I have got some case studies here, a couple of case studies and couple of transparency reports about how some of these threats have been converted into a very unique business opportunity. So, just imagine, the creation of all the different new models of business, whether it is evolution of smartphones. You would not go for a smartphone, you would not go for a telephone device or any other device that is prone to attacks. That itself, the programming and the operating system is prone to attacks. Likewise, e-commerce, likewise banking, financial services, likewise, imagine of, the telecom network operator, right? If the network is prone to all different threats, would you want to transact business with that particular network? If, let's say, a bank is prone to kind of threats, and we know the kind of threats, right? Every day we keep seeing, something or the other around some of the major threats, vulnerabilities being exploited, and huge amount of data leakages, huge amount of cyber frauds that keep occurring. Would you really want to transact business with that kind of a bank, with that kind of a telecom operator? I'm taking these two examples because these are day-to-day examples that most of us use. With the advent of 5G and telecommunications, again, this, because internet is, every particular device is talking to internet. And this, therefore, assumes a very different importance in the context of 5G, where the internet usage is going to go 5-fold, 6-fold, 10-fold over a period of time. And every particular device is going to be connected to internet. In the modern medicine, you have even some of the body organs in some form connected to the internet and giving some signals, and a lot of research is going on around this, and you would see how even a human body is connected to an internet and is helping some of the organs to even survive in cases where there are medical issues. So these are some examples where of threats. I mean, let's say a mobile tower, a simple mobile tower that is existing. That single tower is prone to a threat. So many attacks can happen over that single mobile tower that is lying, let's say, in one particular premise. And if you are able to convert, they will not be, I mean, imagine of a mobile telephone operator, they wouldn't expand to this level. There's no possibility to expand countrywide, nationally, if these devices and if these towers are not well protected. So all of these, if you see the evolution of each of these businesses, in some shape and form, it is a cyber threat that has led to evolution of these models. And all of this in particular, last 2 decades ago, most of us have been in business. I think at least for last 2 decades, we have either been studying or in business, and we know how the entire mobile phone infrastructure, how the entire mobile phones which are not existing a couple of decades ago, 2.5 decades ago, how they have come into existence and how they've led to a very different revolution. And threat is a very important, cyber threat is a very important imperative that is existing. Even look at, today's the top 2 or 3 agenda that we have at the boardroom dealing with some of the important issues. And while most of us are aware about it, most of us know about it, even at the boardroom level, when you talk about, areas like ESG, sustainability, areas like cyber, they are the top 2 or 3 agenda items in any board. Even if you are in an energy infrastructure company, even if you are, let's say, a logistics company or a utilities company, all of these today at the board level, these are the top 2 agenda items, the sustainability and the cyber security, cyber threat, dealing with the cyber threats. So, if you really look at it, just stepping a little bit back, cyber threats and defense have actually led to creation of a different kind of solutions. Like, for example, the Securities Operations Center. If a business is well protected through a 24/7 SOC, a very advanced cyber threats defense system, basically your business, is a very important pillar on which your core business model can reside. And as I said, how are you going to be comfortable to communicate or transact with any network, with any bank, or with any utility that is not well secured? So therefore, it is so important part of any business. Now, you may go back and say as to why for a utility company, why for an infrastructure company, why for a oil and gas company, or why for a, let's say, renewables, a wind, solar power company, why is it necessary? What it does is simply, the devices or the equipment simply produce electricity, they simply produce power, energy. Why do we need, even to talk about a cyber threat and vulnerability? But remember, each of these equipments are connected to the internet. The monitoring happens continuously through, imagine all of these, let's say, windmills, or most of these power generating locations, they are, wind turbines, etc. They lie on a location that are inaccessible for human beings. And you can control that device completely remotely through internet and through network, right? And imagine if these equipments are not well protected, even for an energy company, renewables company, this is a very, very big threat. The entire infrastructure can actually go down. The entire utility infrastructure can actually go down within a few minutes if these are not well protected. So, if you really look at what has happened is a very unique protection issue because cyber always has been a protection issue, that how do we protect, how do we protect? That has become a core part of business enablement, a core part of any business model. Because when you talk of a business model, you actually include cybersecurity as a part of the business model. You actually enrich your core business model by including cyber threat and defense as a very important imperative or a proposition of your core offering. So, let's say you talk about a telephone, a smartphone or a mobile phone infrastructure company, network operator basically. Today, you talk about the top 10 players, whether it is AT&T, whether it is Vodafone, any of these top players, and even for that matter from an Indian standpoint, Airtel and Jio, the cyber security is a core part of their proposition. The core business model actually resides on the cybersecurity proposition, that is cyber threat and defense. Because there are threats, there is a defense. And because there is a defense, that has become a part of the core offering and a core assurance. When you are able to give that assurance of cyber threat and the defense system, the defense over the cyber threats, that become a part of your core business model. It enriches your core business model. So basically, it's a time to enrich and magnify your business model by way of including cyber threat and defense solution. What are you going to offer is basically a digital trust solution as a result of existence of all kinds of threats. So I have just enumerated here a few industries: banking, financial services, e-commerce, telecommunication, even agriculture, retail and consumer. Most of these companies, most of these industries today have cybersecurity as a very important part of their offering. And I really don't know whether most of you are aware that like you have an annual report, like you have a sustainability report, very many progressive companies have started issuing over the last 2 or 3 years cybersecurity fact sheet or a cybersecurity annual report or a cybersecurity transparency report. Whether you call it as a fact sheet, transparency report, or an annual cybersecurity annual report, that's all one and the same. What are you doing on a cyber threat and defense front? What are you doing on a cybersecurity front is a core part of your reporting, not just to your key stakeholders, not just to your customers and business partners, but to actually society at large. And that is where most of the reporting happens around what are the initiatives about cybersecurity. It's a transparency report. You don't need to actually go out and specify what technologies, what vulnerabilities, what are you doing, what's the size of the team. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is give a report annually that what is happening on cybersecurity, what are your roadmap, what are your plans on further enhancing cybersecurity as a part of your core business model. You will be surprised to see, and why I'm taking an example of the telecommunications is because that's the most common example that you can think of. Everything today practically happens over a mobile phone. And that's what, protecting all the information on the network is so imperative agenda. Everybody is banking, everybody's, getting transported somewhere or the other. Most of us are using, phones for traveling, for getting transported on a day-to-day basis. And therefore, at every single step, there is a usage of, smartphone. And therefore, protecting that infrastructure has become so important part of the core agenda of this telecommunications company. And I'm going to take that as a very unique example. And just before that, just to give you another corollary analogy example, intellectual property risks. All the different kinds of intellectual property risks have actually created the evolution of intellectual property rights and regulations. Now, as a result of these rights and regulations, basically the core intellectual properties of any of the companies get protected, and therefore unique business models have got created around intellectual property rights. And cyber attack defense lead to also a creation of a framework creation and crafting of solutions which become part of your core business model, and in the form of SOC, that is Security Operations Center, in the form of digital trusts, all kinds of certifications and solutions, they basically go out and enhance your business. And as I said, I've taken an example of a telecom operator. This is a telecom operator that's one of the large players globally, okay? Not necessarily a large player in India, but a large player internationally. And what I was able to see was that they annually publish something called as a cyber security fact sheet or a cyber security annual report. And it was so interesting to see that as much as there was a reporting on financials, the profit and loss, the returns to investors, the returns to lenders, and all different stakeholders like employees, like contractors, like business partners, there was a fact sheet that was published on the cybersecurity front, and it was so nice to see that out of the 6 core purpose pillars, as they call it, cybersecurity is one of the 6 core purpose pillars of this telecom operator. And all that I've just mentioned here, in the form of strategy, controls evolution, and I'm sure most of us are aware, security by design, privacy by design, every application system that gets done these days are actually secured by design. Our privacy secured by design, our information secured by design. This is the concept. It should be secured by design. Dynamic trust, real-time data, real-time response, spirit, culture, and security. I was not surprised, but I was amazed to see that there is 1,000 people team sitting in the GICs. And by the way, let me tell you, all the telecom operators, there's not a single who has not done this. Every global telecom operator, which is more than 50 billion globally, has got a cyber defense wing or a cyber defense center of excellence that is actually sitting in India. There are 500 to, depending upon the size and scale, 500 to 1,000 people sitting in somewhere in Pune, Noida, Bangalore, or Chennai, actually doing a 24/7 cyber threat and defense study continuously, and using some of the advanced tools and using the human intelligence, combining humans and machines. So you can imagine 1,000 people actually sitting here and doing threats defense system. So going further, this is how the fact sheet looks like, and my presentation is going to be available, so no need to take pictures. But this is the actual fact sheet that they have published annually. And you can see, what they are talking about, what are the kind of KPIs they are talking about. Of course, the vision, if you see right from the vision on the right side, from the vision side is to secure connected future for our customers and society. That's a core part of the vision. Just see how the cyber threat and defense have got elevated to the vision, to the purpose. As I said, core purpose pillar has 6 elements, and cyber security is one of the 6 core purpose pillars. It is not surprising because, it is a responsibility of this operator to give this assurance to the customers and the societies and the stakeholders that everything that they're doing with you, everything that they're doing with all different partners is actually protected. Everybody is using the telecommunications network. So, of course, some of these are very, very basic. Some of these are very basic, like ISO 27001. Most of the enterprises today are compliant. Of course, that's a form of, again, one of the digital assurance or digital trust assurance that is being given. You can see how, from a strategy front, they have reported on the business strategy front, how have they included cyber threat and defense. You can see on the governance front, what have they done. You can see from a risk management standpoint also what they have done. So basically, at every level of management, there is a level of risk governance. So you have got board, you've got audit committee. Both of them side by side looking at this agenda of cyber threat and defense as a core element. Risk management, as I said. Events. Basically, this operator went out and reported as well one of the major incidents that happened in one of the countries. One of the major threats that was exploited into an attack. They've reported it transparently. And they've said that, look, this has happened. It is not that the attacks are not going to happen, but of every attack, there is going to be a solution, there is going to be a learning, and there is going to be an enhancement of the business model. There is going to be an elevation of the cyber threat and defense right into the business model. Here is another company, Y, which has also given us cybersecurity annual report, by the way, 2023, which is just published maybe a month ago. And this is what they have to say. I'm sure you can read most of these, but what it says is that we are in line with 50% plus industry trends. We have all our sites protected by way of ISO 27001 and information security standards and digital trust certifications. And therefore, most of these numbers. This is what they have reported. And very transparently, what is happening is being reported without mentioning the kind of technology, without going and talking about exact vulnerability, how they're addressing it. So they have said what is going to be their priorities. Here is where we believe the industry needs to go. As an industry leader, they're saying this is how the industry is going to move in the future. And then they've said that, look, outlook of 2023, because 2023 is not done yet, is only half over. But what is 2023 and beyond? So, of course, they have mentioned and covered some of the leaders, what most of the leaders in the industry are saying. This is the most important thing in the report of the outlook of 2023 and beyond. Very, very important. And of course, I'm going to share this report. So you can have a nice read of this. So what it says is basically, if you look at the top two things, the work to connect security teams more with the business so that the business fully understand the imperative of cybersecurity. What it also says that hire for talent, not necessarily experience. The more the experience, there are chances that the experience could be obsolete. This is what the trend says. It also says invest in the user behavior analytics, which is again one of the I'm not sure whether this has got covered, but this is again a very important element within the cybersecurity. User behavior analytics. What is actually user doing right and wrong? Let's go and study it. Let's learn something out of it and then publish the key trends around it so that users become more aware as to what they're doing. Understand the supply chain in full, build a security culture into an organization. Again, on the lower left side, the second one, encryption, tokenization, pseudonymization. These are all modern forms of encryption which have evolved. Use it for every information that is lying and getting transmitted till the time it is consumed. Ensure that everything is encrypted, tokenized, pseudonymized. So I think these are some very important learnings, and last of it was security is only possible through a combination of automation and human diligence. Both automation is important, but human diligence and intervention is equally important. We have not yet reached the time where machines are going to completely take over all the cybersecurity and going to handle it. Machines will never be able to do it because you will always need a human mind supporting it, and human mind will always need machines to support it. There is also a cyber security center of excellence that this company has created. cybersecurity center of excellence, and which is nothing surprising. As I told you, and India is leading the way on this because more than 1,000 people on any of these large global giants are basically sitting here somewhere, as I said, in Pune, Bangalore, Noida, or Chennai, doing a cyber threat and defense continuously 24/7. What's next from here? We're talking about 2023 and beyond, and I would want you to give this a little bit of a thought. What I'm saying is embed and integrate cybersecurity into your core business model. Whatever is your core business model, make sure that cybersecurity is integrated as a part of the core business model. Make sure that cybersecurity is an important pillar of your business on which your core business model is going to reside. So means integrate into your core business model. Again, the same thing. Make your business cyber resilient through the framework and through solutions implementations. Provide cybersecurity assurance to key stakeholders and the society. When I say stakeholders, it's everybody as a part of the stakeholders. Employees, business partners, your suppliers, your customers, everybody, and even society at large. Implemented automated cyber threat defense solutions. There are various out there. But as I said, human diligence along with the automated solution will be of help. Evolve your business around, and this is something very important, evolve your business around the cyber threat that is existing in your industry. If you are going to be able to provide a solution as a part of your business model to the cyber threats that are existing in your business, you're going to be the leader in the market, or at least top 5 or top 10 within your space. And then publish cybersecurity transparency reports, as I said, to the key stakeholders, which we have seen, a couple of them. And while I've not said one thing here, the last thing I would like to very quickly summarize is to create a very unique business ROI from your cyber initiatives, cyber threats and defense. There is a unique ROI, very unique multiplier that you're going to get multiple returns if you're able to capture this whole thing right, that what is a threat, what is a defense, invest in the defense system, ensure that the threats are protected, ensure that the defense is provided, ensure that the assurance and trust is provided, and thereby grow the business multifold. So that's the ROI that should come out of cyber threat and defense system. I think that's all that I had to say. Any questions, happy to answer, or else I don't know if we are short of time.
Thank you, Kartik. So let me call upon stage Mr. Abhishek Jha, Citibank. Please be here on the stage with us. Okay. We would like to felicitate our guest, Mr. Kartik. Okay, before we break for lunch, I have few important announcements to make here. These are about the lucky draw. So we have total 4 lucky draw today. One lucky draw from Hitachi, the second one from Sekion, third one from Atmos Secure, and fourth one from our ISACA Mumbai chapter. So please do go, and if you are not already provided the passports for the ISACA Mumbai chapter lucky draw, please do so, and also provide your contact details with the partners. Thank you all, and please be available as early as possible because we are going to have an important session after the lunch. So we are going to have a quiz immediately after the lunch. 45 minutes?